The markets are closed, but the business stories are just heating up. Hello, I'm Raine Musñgi. Catch up with us on Business Brief. Russia agrees in principle with a U.S.-led ceasefire plan backed by Ukraine earlier this week. Russian President Vladimir Putin on Thursday stopped short of signing up to any deal, arguing that it needed further negotiation and must lead to enduring peace. Speaking at a news conference in Moscow, Putin also said a deal must show that the ceasefire would lead to long-term peace and eliminate the root causes of this crisis. Putin also questioned whether the 30 days would be used to supply weapons or train newly mobilized units and how potential violations of the ceasefire would be monitored. Kyiv backed the plan on Tuesday, contingent on Moscow's operation. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy says Russian Vladimir Putin is preparing a rejection of ceasefire proposal, but is scared to say this directly to U.S. President Donald Trump. Speaking in his evening address, Zelenskyy said Russia is setting conditions on a ceasefire in order to delay it or make it not happen at all.
There was an American proposal for an unconditional ceasefire in the air, at sea, and on the front lines. We in Ukraine accepted this proposal. From the American side, we heard that there is a readiness to organize control and verification. This is possible to ensure, with America's possibilities and Europe's capabilities. The ceasefire would give time to prepare answers to all questions regarding long-term security and a real, reliable peace, and to put on the table a plan to end the war. We have all now heard very predictable and highly manipulative words from Putin in response to the idea of a ceasefire at the front. He is in fact preparing a rejection at present. Putin is, of course, scared to tell President Trump directly that he wants to continue this war, that he wants to kill Ukrainians. That's why in Moscow they are imposing upon the idea of a ceasefire these conditions, so that nothing happens at all, or so that it cannot happen for as long as possible.
U.S. President Donald Trump said he hopes Russia will do the right thing on ending the war in Ukraine. During an Oval Office meeting with NATO General or Secretary General Mark Rutte on Thursday, Trump said Putin put out a statement, but it wasn't complete, so his special envoy Steve Witkoff is in serious discussions with Russia. Moscow, over recent days, has pressed a lightning offensive in the western Russian region of Kursk against Ukrainian forces, which smashed through the border last August in a bid to divert forces from eastern Ukraine, gain a bargaining chip, and embarrass Putin.
We know where we are with Ukraine, and we are getting good signals outside of Russia as to where we are with Russia. And hopefully they'll do the right thing. And so really humanity, we're talking about humanity, we're not talking about the money, but then you add the money to it, and hundreds of billions of dollars is being spent and really wasted so unnecessarily. It should have never happened. Well, we'd like to see a ceasefire from Russia, and we have not been working in the dark. We've been discussing with Ukraine land and pieces of land that would be kept and lost, and all of the other elements of a final agreement. There's a power plant involved, a very big power plant involved. Who's going to get the power plant and who's going to get this and that? And so, it's not an easy process.
Meanwhile, U.S. President Trump on Thursday threatened to slap a 200% tariff on wine, cognac, and other alcohol imports from Europe, opening a new front in a global trade war that has roiled financial markets and raised recession fears. Stocks fell on the news as investors worried that Trump would enact stiffer trade barriers around the world's largest consumer market. Trump's threat came in response to a European Union plan to impose tariffs on American whiskey and other products next month, which itself is a reaction to Trump's 25% tariffs on steel and aluminum imports that took effect on Wednesday. Trump also said he was not going to change his mind on imposing sweeping reciprocal tariffs on all trading partners on April 2nd. Trump has defended his use of tariffs, dismissed recent market volatility, and vowed that investors would eventually see gains for putting money to work now.
We've been ripped off for years, and we're not going to be ripped off anymore. No, I'm not going to bend at all. Aluminum or steel or cars, we're not going to bend. We've been ripped off as a country for many, many years. We've been subjected to costs that we shouldn't be subjected to. In the case of Canada, we're spending $200 billion a year to subsidize Canada.
Foreign ministers of leading Western democracies seeking to show a united front at the G7 summit in Canada. Top of the agenda for Washington's partners will be getting a debriefing on U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio's talks on Tuesday with Kyiv in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, where Ukraine said it was ready to support a 30-day ceasefire deal. European diplomats said they hope to use the G7 to assess directly how much influence Rubio has on U.S. foreign policy.
Io vedrò Rubio domani mattina.
I will see United States Secretary of State Marco Rubio tomorrow morning. We will talk about the international situation as regards transatlantic relations, with it being understood that Rubio alone is not responsible for international trade. In the context of international relations, of course, I will also talk about commercial relations without wanting to go into detail, and will only listen. Since he alone is not responsible, I will only say that a trade war is not good for anyone. I am also convinced that Italy can import more from the United States, it can invest more in the United States, and a larger amount and greater Italian investments could also be a shield to protect our exports to that country.
Well, Asia-Pacific markets mostly rose on Friday, led by Chinese stocks, despite a plunge in all three benchmarks in the U.S. over the previous session, amid concern about President Trump's tariff plans. China's benchmark stock index rallied the most in 2 months on Friday, with consumer shares leading gains on expectations of more policy support for the sector. Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index also saw substantial gains as much as 2.5%, the Shanghai Composite up 1.75%. In Japan, the benchmark Nikkei 225 rose 0.9% in its final hour, while South Korea, Singapore, and India bucked the regional uptrend, falling at least 0.1%. Australia's ASX 200 ended the trading session 0.5% higher. Former President Rodrigo Duterte is set to face the pre-trial chamber of the International Criminal Court in a few hours. This will be his first court appearance in The Hague since his arrest Tuesday over his bloody war on drugs. He faces charges of murder as a crime against humanity. During tonight's hearing, the ICC will lay the groundwork for the case and will formally inform Duterte of his rights under the Rome Statute. Hearing starts at 9 p.m. Philippine time. We have to pause for a few reminders, but we'll explore ICCP's role in upcoming IPOs and the broader investment landscape upon a return. Stay on Business Brief, only on BNC.
Good evening, I'm Pinky Webb.
The questions.
What did you uncover?
Kita natin yung sa IPO. There was a violation of Section 8 of Republic Act 9511.
The issues.
Is there a problem with that, the present setup of the syntax?
The reason there's a 5% increase is because of inflation.
We clarify matters.
All these government agencies, we're actually the lowest. That's why it has to be, I hope that it will be addressed.
Pinky Webb is always on point.
Hello and welcome to Follow the Money. I'm Raine Musñgi. Join us as we explore the tools and insights you need to jumpstart your financial journey.
We empower.
This country deserves a real choice in the next election.
We motivate.
Do not invest money that you're not able to afford to lose.
Changes that are vital.
We're monitoring the sale of these products online.
Follow the Money with Raine Musñgi.
Keep it here on the Bilyonaryo News Channel. Always on top. The Philippine financial landscape is undergoing significant changes, with the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas considering a 50 basis point rate cut this year as early as April, and Philippine Stock Exchange targeting 6 initial public offerings in 2025. Amid these developments, the Investment and Capital Corporation of the Philippines plays a pivotal role in shaping investment strategies and market dynamics. Today in Business Brief, we're joined by Mr. Manny Ocampo, Senior Managing Director of ICCP, to delve into these pressing issues. Manny, good to see you again. Good afternoon.
Hi, Raine. Good afternoon.
Welcome to Business Brief. The BSP, of course, contemplating a 50 basis point rate cut this year, or as early as April 10. How might this monetary policy shift impact investor sentiment and capital flows in the Philippine market?
It's something anticipated. I think let me put a caveat there and say that, the inflation print coming out early next week should provide context on the BSP's action the following week. No, I think they're doing the meeting on April 10th, so they postponed it a week, just really just to take a read on where inflation will be. And seeing where things are right now, I think, the BSP is pretty much on the way to a 25 basis point rate cut this April.
Do you see a mid-cycle cut from the BSP?
Probably not. I think they'll see how it is, this April, and then, they'll take a look at, inflation is really the signal or what BSP looks out after. So they would have leeway maybe for another 25 basis point rate cut after April's meeting, and then I guess we see from there. Our best case scenario is that they do after April, they'll do maybe a couple of more rate cuts. I think that's best case scenario, that a signal that maybe the Philippines is moving out of its inflationary issues. Okay?
Talking about the market, the PSE aims to achieve 6 IPOs in 2025. Given the current market conditions, do you believe this target is attainable? Are there factors that could influence its success?
Well, we see the big IPOs coming out, if ever. So these would be GCash, Maynilad Water. They already have appointed international investment bankers, given the size of both issues. So they've appointed international banks already, probably to get them ready, maybe for a second half issue. So these are the two big IPOs that we think will come to market within the second half. I guess that'll be dictated really by market conditions. But both companies have fairly good stories to say. So, and I think both companies have very strong financial returns with them, strong performance, and also they would be ripe to go to the markets within the second half. The other reason for the second half is that they probably want to clear the upcoming May elections. Once that's clear, then that leaves them with better open space going to market.
Understood. One of the things that rattled the markets this year was the foreign direct investment inflows to the Philippines, which have slumped to an 11-year low as of December last year. What strategies do you think should be implemented to reverse the trend and attract more foreign investors?
Well, if you take a look at it, the big ticket infrastructure projects, etc., are going to maybe a handful of large Filipino conglomerates. Foreign investors are really saying is I guess from what we're hearing with some people that we've spoken to, should I align or should I partner with these conglomerates and work it out from there? So that's one of those things. I think we've seen that already happen with this investing with Meralco Green. So that's there. Pertamina also investing with Citico Renewables. That's happening. So there seems to be some inflows again of foreign capital, foreign direct investments into the market. But they will be very selective. Foreign investors will probably look to partner with strong, shall we say, local conglomerates that pretty much have clout with the current and maybe future administrations. Raine?
Right. We also saw that President Marcos had actually earlier today announced a few trillion pesos worth of more investments here in the country. Now, we've received mixed comments, mixed remarks from analysts on whether the recent arrest of former President Duterte would disturb Philippine markets. How significant do you perceive this political event's impact might be on investor confidence and market stability?
I think, well, we see today market is up, so it seems to be accepted, or I wouldn't say a non-event, but maybe the impact is not as severe as what maybe some quarters had initially expected, that the market, the stock market will continue to move on its own accord. Currency markets remain stable. The foreign exchange rate remains stable. So that seems to be, there. So we'll see how the political landscape affects the financial markets. Raine. I'm not saying that it stops. Hopefully, the impact will not be too severe.
Many recent fluctuations in U.S. economic policies have also been influencing global markets. How should Philippine investors navigate these uncertainties to safeguard their portfolios?
Well, the tariffs pronouncements of President Trump seem to be a regular rhetoric already from the White House. Whether he, I don't know if it's a threat of implementing tariffs, but he mentions tariffs and all, but maybe a couple of days later he will postpone. So I guess let's see if that really is going to be a policy that the United States will implement. Maybe he's directing it to certain countries in particular. The Philippines, we are maybe below the radar as far as the United States is concerned. So trade relations with the Philippines, we don't, it's not a big thing for the U.S. So we probably will fall below their radar as far as tariff impositions would be concerned.
Manny, when it comes to tariffs, of course, we can't help but talk about the peso, the currency. There are some comments that, the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas should just allow the peso to depreciate as it should. There are others that are appreciative that, of course, the BSP has been defending the peso as much as it can. What do you feel about it? Where do you think the Philippines stands to benefit more from an appreciating peso or a depreciating one? But that would be alongside its regional peers in the currency market.
Right. We should technically go with the trend, Raine, as far as, if everybody else is depreciating relative to the US dollars, I think we should follow that trend. We should not run counter-cyclical to that depreciating trend if it is that. Now, as far as the BSP actions are concerned, I think BSP actions will try to smoothen, movements rather than break particular trends. They will want to control, severe movements in both the peso and the peso dollar rate and the interest rates, if you'd like. So that's really the job of the BSP to manage that part. So I don't think they are actively supporting the peso with the end in view of making it appreciate, but they are going to manage volatility. Raine.
In that thread, the Bankers Association of the Philippines is considering opening the peso interest rate swap market to foreign investors. Are there potential benefits and risks that this might pose for the local financial ecosystem?
Well, more benefits. So it provides Raine a hedging mechanism for foreign and local investors, to take a look at. So they're not going long only or something like that. They could hedge their position. So it's something that helps corporates to manage risk for rate risk on their part. I think it's a good move.
All right. Well, the BDO, or rather BDO, has also identified infrastructure and real estate as leading sectors for investment growth in the Philippines, and talking about investments. Do you agree with this outlook, and where do you see the most promising opportunities?
I think on infrastructure, there's still a lot of investments, and I know BDO has been quite active on their investment in the Metro Pacific Tollways or NLEX Corporation. So I think that continues to grow, and investing in infrastructure, particularly tollways, bridgeways, etc., should promote the passage of goods and services, and facilitating that is something that we'd like to see. More farms, more roads that access farms to make it easier. We've also seen, there's also a lot of spending or investments being made in energy power generation, whether that be traditional baseload power, because we will need it also, and also the move towards or shift towards renewable energy. So there's a lot of investment there. I think we start seeing the fruits of new generation in about a couple of years. Major projects coming online. We hope also that the Maharlika Investment Corporation's investment in the NGCP would help promote or shall we say, help generate an expansion of NGCP's transmission facilities to accommodate new supply coming onto the grid. Right.
So apart from infrastructure and energy, are you, as an investment house, also looking into these projects? As a leading investment house, what are the ICCP's strategic priorities this year? How do you plan to address current market challenges?
Sorry. Well, our group, the ICCP group, I think we have, shall we say, a three-pronged approach towards infrastructure investments. For example, we are pretty much in support of the government's efforts to bring in foreign investors through the establishment and development of industrial estates. We are looking at locations along the so-called Luzon Economic Corridor that would, bring new industrial estates along that corridor to attract, Japanese, Korean, even American firms, or even Taiwanese firms locating in the Philippines. So that's there right now. So that's happening. As far as MIC events are concerned, or facilities are concerned, we are looking at, we are also affiliated with the World Trade Center, Metro Manila, and we're seeing the influx of foreign exhibitors coming to the Philippines looking for facilities, to do their trade shows and the like. So World Trade is there. They're looking to expand because we're running right now at pretty much full capacity on these things. So we're looking to expand and maybe locate new exhibition halls, again, along the Luzon Economic Corridor.
I'm certainly looking forward to that. I wish we could mount events in the same trend as Dubai and Las Vegas, as well as Singapore. Now, perhaps as a final word, Manny, given the current economic climate, is there an advice that you would offer both local and foreign investors considering the Philippine market for this year?
Well, we like where the market is right now. You have a pathway to recovery. So to the, shall we say, to the brave, I think it's an excellent time to invest in the market. In particular, maybe you would want if you'd like the best of both worlds, real estate investment trusts remain to be an asset class that provides fixed income return, and they get returns quarterly, as well as capital appreciation over the long term. Ayala REIT, for example, has continued to appreciate over time, as well as other major REITs out there like Robinsons, and which posted really strong earnings in 2024. Citico REIT being different, a renewable energy REIT or an energy REIT is something we particularly like. So there, Raine.
All right, grateful for all the insights, and we really appreciate the direction that you're setting and sharing with us. Thank you so much, Mr. Manny Ocampo, Senior Managing Director of ICCP. Always a pleasure to have you and hear your valuable insights. Now, as the Philippine financial landscape evolves, strategic investments, just like those that Manny shared, and the informed decisions will be crucial in navigating the opportunities and challenges ahead. Philippine shares rallied for a second day following the regional advance. The main index gained 0.8% to finish Friday at 62.94. For the week, the PSEI was just off by 4 points, lower. Advancers edged out decliners 103 to 90, while value turnover reached 6.3 billion pesos. Property and financials firms led gains, led by BDO, BPI, Ayala Land, and SM Prime Holdings. Meralco was among the most active after issuing a disclosure that Meralco Power Gen Corporation is currently evaluating the potential initial public offering of MGen Renewable Energy, which may include the possibility of injecting assets to SPNEC, or New Energy Corp. Meanwhile, the foreign exchange market, the peso is currently trading at 57 pesos and 27.5 centavos to the greenback, stronger than Thursday's close of 57.36. On the lighter side, an early flowering variety of cherry blossoms were at bloom in Tokyo's Ueno Park Thursday, drawing crowds of delighted spectators. Many locals and tourists posed for photographs under the trees, covered in pink and white flowers. Local media said the cherry blossom season was set to kick off next Friday in Tokyo. Warm weather in late March is also expected to accelerate blooming activity across Japan.
It's warm and the cherry blossom here, it's beautiful, so yeah, we are enjoying it very much.
This is the first time I've seen them. I don't think they are fully bloomed yet, but they are very beautiful indeed, so yeah, they are good for pictures.
To see the full bloom, and the forecast say it's next week. Yes, we see it next week.
This year, the economic impact of Hanami is expected to be around $7.7 billion, almost twice as much as last year's $4.4 billion Cherry Blossom Bloom Festival. That That's a wrap for today's Business Brief. I'm Raine Musñgi. Join us again on Monday as we bring you the stories that help you plan your next big, bold moves in business, only here on the Bilyonaryo News Channel. Always on top.